In 1957, deep inside the Soviet Union, a nuclear tank exploded with the force of a small bomb. Entire towns were contaminated, thousands were exposed, and for decades, no one outside the USSR even knew it happened. This is the disaster the Soviet Union tried to erase. Hidden behind layers of secrecy, the Mayak nuclear facility was one of the most dangerous places on Earth. Built in a rush during the early Cold War, it was designed to produce plutonium for Soviet weapons. Safety was secondary, information was restricted, and the workers who lived nearby were never told what they were breathing, touching, or drinking. Most of them believed they were helping their country. They had no idea they were living beside a growing threat, a threat that was becoming more unstable every single day. The explosion happened near the town of Kyshtym. It wasn't a reactor. It wasn't a bomb test. It was a storage tank filled with highly radioactive waste. Waste so unstable that even a small temperature change could trigger disaster. For months, the cooling system had been failing. Technicians reported rising temperatures. Alarms went off, but the warnings were ignored. Maintenance was delayed, and the pressure inside the tank kept building. Some workers later said they felt something was wrong. A strange heat in the air, a vibration under their feet. But no one dared question the system. Then, a silent, blinding flash tore through the compound. No fireball, no mushroom cloud, just a violent burst of radioactive dust and debris that shot nearly a mile into the air. Workers nearby felt the shockwave before they even understood what had happened. The blast released a massive radioactive cloud. It drifted across villages, farms, and forests. People stepped outside to see the strange glow in the sky, not knowing they were being exposed to lethal levels of radiation. Children played in the fallout. Farmers continued their work. Families gathered outside, pointing at the shimmering haze. They had no idea what was settling onto their skin. Some even described the dust as warm snow, falling silently across rooftops and fields. Animals died, crops withered, children fell sick overnight. Doctors were ordered not to mention radiation. They wrote "unknown illness" on medical charts. Some were told to destroy their notes entirely. The Soviet government didn't warn anyone. Instead, they sent soldiers in protective gear to quietly evacuate entire villages. No explanations, no instructions, just orders to leave everything behind. Homes were burned, belongings destroyed, whole communities erased from maps. Entire villages vanished in a matter of days. Some residents returned later, only to find their homes gone, replaced by empty fields and warning signs. Many families were separated during the evacuations. Some were moved hundreds of miles away. Others were relocated multiple times, never told why they couldn't return home. Their entire lives were uprooted in silence. The fallout zone stretched nearly 300 kilometers, a scar across the land known today as the East Ural radioactive trace. Forests turned silent, rivers carried contamination downstream, and the wind pushed radioactive particles across dozens of settlements. For years, people living downwind suffered mysterious illnesses. Cancer rates spiked, birth defects increased, livestock were born with deformities. But the official reports blamed everything except radiation. Doctors were forbidden from discussing the cause. Scientists were told to destroy their notes. And families were left to guess why their loved ones were dying. Some survivors later said they felt like they were living inside a secret. It wasn't until the 1970s that a Soviet scientist, Zhores Medvedev, exposed the truth. He pieced together scattered reports, survivor testimonies, and classified leaks. He published evidence of the explosion, and the government immediately tried to silence him. They called him a liar, a traitor, a man spreading Western propaganda. But the story spread, and the world finally learned about the hidden nuclear disaster. Thousands were exposed. Many died without ever knowing why. Others lived with lifelong radiation sickness. Some carried symptoms for decades, never receiving answers or acknowledgement. Entire villages vanished, families were scattered, and the land itself still carries the scars. Even today, parts of the region remain restricted. Wildlife shows signs of long-term contamination, and the soil holds radioactive particles from a disaster most people have never heard of. The Kyshtym disaster remains one of the worst nuclear accidents in history. But because it happened behind the Iron Curtain, it was hidden for decades. Today, the region is still restricted, still dangerous, and still a reminder of what happens when secrecy becomes policy. This is the disaster the world was never meant to see. If you liked this video, subscribe and like for more secret and hidden history they didn't want you to know.